Greg is stuck in traffic in Tallahassee, so we'll go ahead and start.
Very good. Well, we've got 4 project updates, and then we've got a separate item to discuss, loan payoff recommendation. So Mike Atkinson has new street paving in the cemetery to preview with you, and also he wanted to update you on the Rivington lighting project. So Mike?
Okay, we got a couple of pictures somewhere. We're doing the paving first, Kathleen? Okay. Laurel Hill Cemetery and Peaceful Rest, council approved on 6/22, the contract with Scott and Dozier. This is Laurel Hill, both projects have been completed. This is the streets in the back, and you go in off of Jackson to the far left. This is our last 4 sections of cemetery space that we just fixing to open up. It looks a lot better out there. We already have, you may see right in the bottom left corner, there's one grave's been put in that section already, so we're already filling in that one, so that leaves 2 full sections and a half a section in the back, right at Laurel Hill. And then there's a photo of Peaceful Rest. This is the, when you come in off of Carolina Road, the first drive to your left, these are the 2 sections here that, of course, you can see on the left of the furthest left drive, that section's been open for a while. The section here in the middle was opened last year. And then at the far end, these 2 short streets that was paved also, and those were opened 2 years ago. And to the left of this drive, here at the bottom, that whole field back towards Carolina Road for Peaceful Rest Cemetery is still available. So, but DL done these projects for $67,075. We had a budget of $100,000, so we got some dollars left over. We are talking to them about possibly with funds, with the unit prices. We're going ahead and getting a road on this side paved, so we can at least have a road down 2 sections. So this section here will fill up quick. A lot of those lots have been sold already. So we only have the money in the budget. We're going to talk to them about if we can honor the same unit prices and go ahead and do another road on this side. Any questions about cemeteries? Okay, and then we have the Rivington ball field lights. I think back in March, council approved to do phase 2. Scheduling conflicts and scheduling with the Y, seasons out there. We had the summer months down after baseball was over, but actually yesterday or Monday of this week they finished up C section, which was the biggest part of it. But all the lights now at Rivington, all on the new Musco controllers, all scheduling has to go through the Y to set up your times, so that way kids that come through, that cut through from the neighborhood on the backside, they like to come through and turn switches, just turn lights on. Now they cannot do that. So we do have a manual mode we can turn the key and turn this into if we had to, but Greg, for your softball practice, you have to go to the Y to schedule lights to come on. We have set aside in the 2012 splash dollars for recreation $650,000. So we initially done the first phase, and we had quite a bit of dollars left, so we went ahead and come back to the council for phase 2. And with all the phases complete now, we still, for the amount of money that was set aside, which allowed us to do other things in recreation, $140,222 is still available of the original $650,000. And between the Y and the career and the other things he needs doing, we will be making recommendations back to the rec board to bring back to council. So I'm sure the places that it will be spent in recreation. The controls look good. It's a lot neater out there. Hadn't had any complaints on the phase 1 as far as scheduling, so we don't anticipate. A lot of folks go out on the weekend to play flag football in the back in the E section. We may get a few complaints from them, but once they read the signage and get with the process of scheduling, I don't see major issues.
Well, if you can handle all the baseball people without any complaints, then you have done something.
We didn't have, I'm not saying we didn't have any, but we didn't have any.
So that's a complaint mill.
We do get complaints in this time of year because we pull the bases, because they play soccer on the baseball field, and part of the fields are coming onto the baseline, the second base. So we pull the bases, so we set up soccer, and people will call complain during soccer season because they can't play baseball. There is one field always set for baseball, so we have somewhere to go. Thank you.
Jerry, that's the next couple of items. Item number 3 is an update on the amphitheater, and part of this, I know he's gonna go over a implementation schedule, and then after that, I think he's got some supplies, street equipment update. Jerry?
First off, I just wanted to give you all a view of the current plan, and mind you, it's shifting daily as we hone in on the actual improvements in the shape and size. What we know is fixed is that there'll be an alley from Madison Street all the way through to Stevens Street. This is the trail and reconstructed Stevens Street here. Of course, you have Remington Avenue. There'll be an 8-foot pedestrian walk here. And this kind of forms the boundary of the amphitheater. And generally there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 terrace levels here in the amphitheater area. A permanent stage / seating area here. This slopes. I mean, there's approximately 10 feet from the top. We know that much is pretty well fixed, and we are narrowing down placement of trees and lights, placement of this is a restroom building and information kiosk for the trailhead and some storage, and then the interconnecting sidewalks. This is the current plan. We still have some work down here to figure out exactly what we need to, number one, host our downtown events, and also be prepared for private entities that want to host events there. So we're tweaking what this area looks like, but generally this is pretty close to it. I'm working with a landscape architect named Jonathan Vines out of Moultrie. He and I are doing the infrastructure piece of this. On Monday, I'll be bringing to you a design proposal or a professional services proposal for the architect to complete the drawings for the restroom and storage building. With this project is the relocation of all the overhead utilities underground. So if you look back there now, there's a number of poles, and all these buildings are fed overhead from behind. So there's quite a bit of utility work to be done by our own crews, relocating electric communications underground. We're replacing the gas and water along this corridor here. The only thing that's really going to remain constant is the sewer services for those buildings. Everything else will be brand new infrastructure to go underneath our amphitheater trailhead. So there's a lot to do, and with that being said, I wanted to go over the proposed schedule to kind of.
What about the Jackson Street access through the property that we
Up at the top, we haven't been sorted out.
No, not
This property is the Deeds property that's being condemned right now. And the idea is that once the condemnation is complete and we figure out what can or should be done with the structure itself, is that we maintain probably a covered passageway from Jackson Street into the amphitheater and make that the Jackson Street entrance. And then either rent out or dispose of the rest of the property as needed. But that will be a secondary phase. We're not going to wait on that. We have to move forward with the design of this to meet the schedule.
Who's going to design the actual stage, what it actually looks like?
The landscape architect and the architect and
All parties?
all parties. We're trying to
I just want to ask it, whatever it looks like, it's distinctive. The moment you see that in front of you, instantly know that's that place. Don't make it look generic, don't make it look like anybody else's, whatever it is, give it something that says this is Thomasville. And I'm not saying a good traditional Greek pediment. I think maybe something that stylizes that. But I think that stage, whatever it is, should be the moment you see a photo, you instantly know where you are.
Are you expecting that it be a raised stage of some sort?
I would think that would be necessary to do the kind of events we want to do down there. Are you not anticipating it being a raised stage?
Well, in our conversations a little bit and working with the events that we're doing right now, everybody kinda has a different need. So the thought was, up till now, or depending on, you know, what your vision is, was that really that stage would be something that was just very, it could be really taken in and out. It wouldn't be stationary.
That's the thing. I don't think that's the right answer. I really don't. Because quite frankly, I hear you often, when you have events, you can't get help, okay? And I think that's gonna be an ongoing problem. We can't get people to do things, and why do we assume we can get them to do the next thing? I think that's the first concern. The second concern, I think, is that this needs to be a venue that's the venue that it is. The staging, I think, makes a difference in how people perceive the quality of what you do. I think if you're constantly playing off the back of a flatbed trailer, or whatever it may be, then you're never quite up to snuff, in my opinion.
What about a
Blow that up.
top, a
There you
first
go.
class, what about a first class, portable, stage that can be used at other places?
You know,
in town?
I was Steve, I was kind of thinking that that would be a neat way to go.
Mhm.
But we were out in Teton Valley, Idaho, and they had this structure up here, and as you can see, probably not too well, it's raised up, it's got a, whatever, I mean, that's obviously a little bit more mountainy, whatever, but that is just, it was a great looking stage. And it seemed to define the space really well. I mean, it made it clear.
I like that with, covered, because the people that you have coming in there, the bands are gonna want something to protect their, equipment. I know when we had this wedding, that band was very specific about what we had to put up to satisfy them.
And the other thing, I had, when Lee was here, we had a lot of conversation with, folks from TOSAC and with Jason Jones, because Jason knows more events than any of us, about what a stage needed, and there were some really easily defined parameters that, what it needed to be. And, you know, TOSAC, if you're talking about portable stages, that's not gonna accommodate a TOSAC event, I wouldn't think, in general. But maybe, you know, maybe you can go find something that fits that. I think that this, I think a more permanent stage is what would be more fitting with what we're talking. I think you can make it a much more, grounded and I don't know what the term is without saying the word class or whatever it may be, but I think it will be perceived at a much higher value with a permanent stage versus a portable stage.
Well, Jay, the one thing that we have found is that, with the stage, from what we're reading into different types of events we have and different users, is that we're either all in or not at all, because we can't put a small, like, everyday stage there and still be able to bring in a portable stage. So we either leave it very generic so we can bring in a portable stage, or we build a stage that fits anything we could conceive to have there.
Again, how big is a portable stage? What are the dimensions of a portable stage?
I think the ones that we've been using that are automatic are like 24 by, what did you say, 24 by
26 by 26.
26?
So that's the
something like
biggest
that.
stage you can bring in. You
That's
think that
correct.
accommodates everything you might need?
Well, and the other thing I think that we need to think about a little bit too is when you look at your stage rental, the actual rental of the stage is the smallest expense.
Yeah.
It's the lighting and the sound,
Mhm.
and I see that there's a lighting bar that comes up, so, you know, are we going to put those in place so that they're ours? And, you know, that we don't rent those, are we gonna rent a sound system, or, and I don't know what those answers are, I was just,
My answer would be that you would put all the hard points in you need. If you go back and talk to someone like Jason, what do you need when you show up? And what he told us, he didn't want underground pipe, he wanted a trough or somewhere to put a wire all the way to the back so they can monitor things from the back. He needed hard points to hang his lights. You know, it's not that hard to find that out. But again, if 26 by 24 is the maximum size stage you can get, then I think we can certainly accommodate that. I mean, I don't understand the argument that you can't have enough.
What kind of area do you have, Jerry, for the ground?
We have plenty of room.
You got
to build a
ample
big
room.
enough stage.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not, that's not the issue. It's. I get a
Well, let me ask you a
question.
different question, because I think this is a different question. Are we trying to do this so we can get a portable stage so we can do that elsewhere? I mean, is that it? Because we'd like to have the portable stage? And this is an excuse to do that?
Well, I think that, yeah, I think that's all part of it, to be able to have a stage that gives you lots of flexibility at different venues.
Who's gonna set it up?
Mike can do it.
Y'all might wanna talk to Mike about that.
You know, Roy Barnes,
I can-
former
I'm just talking to him.
governor,
He gave me the look.
former Governor Roy Barnes built an amphitheater in Mableton. Got to Google that one. I mean, it's
We
very
can,
classy and
I think you can make a lot of bad decisions
yeah.
in putting up a permanent stage, because I've seen some really bad permanent stages. Okay, they're out there. There's plenty of good examples, but you can go to Albany and see them very easily.
Most bands that have their own staging, because they wanna take it with them. They
That's,
they
that's the
wanna-
other thing is that what we discussed is that
They don't have the stage, they have staging.
They have their.
Lights and
They have their
sound,
actual
that-
stage.
Exactly, the actual stage.
That's their stage, yeah.
Most bands have,
Most bands, yeah.
is that your experience with the bands we had?
I've never heard of it.
That's not the bands we're not, that's not the bands we had.
Nor do they
here.
have lights and sound.
Yeah.
Is there companies in business to rent those stages?
Yes, that's what we currently do.
Very good, great. Keep them in business. Wanakee, Wisconsin. Check out the Wanakee Rec Center that they built for everybody in Wanakee. And Wanakee has a structure just like this, and it has a cement pad underneath it, so you can put picnic tables under it when you're not doing your thing. And when you're ready to go, you can move your picnic tables, and they drive the stage right under that and set it up, and then go. But he's right about the hard points. You get everything up there so that all you gotta do is hang up their stuff, and you can have some wiring in it too for them, but that's about it.
I think it should be discussed more.
Well, yeah, you guys are just starting with the discussion, yeah.
Well, we can still continue with the design. There's going to be
Well,
a
this is way
stage.
down the list of things that have to be done today.
There could be a stage, and hypothetically, we can make this decision. We could get to due south with a roll-in stage and build a permanent stage at some point later. But let's get to due south.
You still need the shelter though, yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on.
Well-
Let's talk about timeline. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Steve.
I was just gonna say, there's a couple of elements that you don't want to put in if this is a possibility. You know, like the hardscaping down at the bottom, you don't wanna put that in.
Right.
Also, I was just thinking, you wanna make sure that we have a lot of the CNS Wi-Fi nodes down there. You know, people are gonna be sitting in that concentration, they're all gonna be playing with their devices.
Is that an extension of what we have downtown already? Do we have?
Just make sure
We'll
there's
make sure
enough.
that happens.
Is the amphitheater just 3 terraced grasses, you know, or where you just go out there like heights, or is there seating, or what is it?
It's basically grass terraces.
Yeah.
There's
Bring
about
your
4
own
of them and
Blankets, chairs.
That's cool, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
How many
what
people-
this was, and that was as good a family-friendly venue as I have ever seen.
What is the anticipated, capacity?
You could probably do about 3 times as many people as there were at Due South last year.
So what was that? That'd be about 1,200
There are
people.
plenty of people over there,
Wow.
Where they,
Chairs.
sitting on the ground.
for parking, they just park, where's the parking for this area?
Like the July 4th, like
Just like that,
during Christmas.
wherever you
like-
got.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
it seems to work.
We'll find it.
I
think we need to discuss.
I agree with you.
Stage needs more discussion.
I'll be happy to hold up my side of the argument. Whenever you guys want to sit down, I'll be happy to take that point of view.
Well, we're at that point, after Monday night, we'll be ready
We will
to
be.
give some
That's right.
direction to the architect,
That's
because
right.
that'll be the
Let's-
next step
let's
for
get
him,
approach.
yeah.
I'd be happy to help.
And as a project manager, I want what's gonna be best for the community, but also I wanna be respectful of this, timeframe that's been thrown out there, so on to the next slide, and we can discuss the timing. And can you go to the next page, Kathleen? And I'm sorry, y'all probably can't read this. But, so what I've got here is, there's essentially 3 projects that are involved with everything that's going on with the infrastructure. We've got a 16-inch water line on Stevens Street that is scheduled to be replaced. That construction begins on Fletcher, it goes up to Stevens, in front of the amphitheater, and then continues northwest down Stevens Street to the Ovey Tank and beyond. That construction is scheduled to start like around the first week in November. So hopefully they are through that block of Stevens Street by the first of the year. And we won't have Stevens Street reconstructed, but we'll at least have it covered back up and safe, where we can be working on the amphitheater. The schedule for the amphitheater, and when I say the amphitheater, this is just the grading and the basic hardscape. It's not the restroom building, and it's not a stage. It's the kind of the brick and concrete paths and the retaining walls to basically form the shape of the amphitheater. Basically, we would continue design through the latter part of October. We bid it out. We bring it to council to award a contract the Monday before Thanksgiving, and then we would hopefully we would give the contractor a notice to proceed the middle of December, and have from the middle of December through the middle of April to get those hardscapes and everything built, the amphitheater built. Hopefully that time frame will also allow us, we'll have to replace the water line, gas line, get all the overhead utilities relocated underground, which is a task in itself. We're gonna have to pay AT&T and MediaCom to relocate their facilities. Our own CNS facilities will have to underground. Sir? Just cut them. I wish that was the case. So that'll be hardscapes and landscaping, trees, hedges, landscaping, irrigation, that kind of thing. I'm reasonably comfortable that we can make it by middle of April. We have time in there for a few hiccups. But because there are so many issues surrounding the architectural design of the stage and the restroom building, it's just more complicated design. I'm separating that out of the contract so that any vertical construction and stage hardscaping we can do at a, not necessarily a later date, but just on a longer time frame. Time frame for that I have basically on here is schematic design, design development, and preparation of construction drawings starting Monday and going through the end of the year, and then bidding the project out in January and bringing the contract award for that to you first council meeting in February. We could potentially get that under construction. If we wanted to have it under construction during the Rose Show Due South event, we could start it, or we could postpone it and wait until after the Rose Show and build it after that Due South event, so that we don't have an open construction site in the middle of that event. Either way, we would have that option. We could either start construction sometime beginning of March, or push it back 2 months and start right after the Rose Show.
Would be nice to have the facilities available for July 4th.
Yeah, I mean, as much inconvenience as it would be to have the facilities under construction, I say, carry on. I mean, full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead.
I think it may be good to have people see you doing that, so they know the next time they're coming in. Permanent structure and not.
Yeah, and you always worry about, oh, this worked well, we don't need it. Or whatever, we are gonna need it. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again, but, city of Apalachicola, Florida.
I got pictures.
Yeah, great public restroom facility. It really makes a lot of sense. They're very accessible, but very safe. Charney had no hesitation letting the boys go by themselves. Of course, Max Junior's the biggest one in the restroom anyway, but I mean, you wouldn't, you know, yours are too little, but you know, a woman could let 2 7-year-old boys go in the restroom there, cause, you know, you can kind of see through sand and glass, you know, if there's anybody in there. It's, and the inside looks like you go in there with a tank of Clorox and a pressure washer, and things good as new in 20 minutes.
We, I took some pictures of that facility and that much called the translucent glass on the bottom, the clear glass on the top to let light in, and all of the automatic fixtures and the paneling on the wall.
Didn't that look nice? I mean, and it looked like it was relatively cheap built.
And, it's a little bit bigger structure than we probably build here. We probably would reduce the number of fixtures for the men's and women's side, but we're going to try and mimic some of those design ideas. I've already given those to the architect.
I mean, am I wrong? Or, I mean, it looked like, I mean, it's more or less cinder block walls, but they really did a good job of making it look really good.
They did. Some of the most, part of the expense of that building was having to make it, it being off-grade and making it ADA accessible. Ours won't have all the ramps and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost just slab on grade here.
And then, in conjunction with the amphitheater and the water main project, we'll be coming behind the water main project with what we're calling phase 1A of the multi-use trail, which is essentially the piece of the trail that starts at the trailhead and goes over to Lester Street, where we are currently under construction.
So that'll connect the trailhead all the way to Victoria, I mean, yeah, to Paradise Park.
And beyond. When that piece is done, the trail should be complete from the trailhead over to Paradise Park, skip Paradise Park, pick up and go all the way down Metcalf to Suzie Way, or Baybrook right now. And we are, you can see kind of the timeline on the bottom. This last line is the phase 2 of the trail, which picks up there, goes to Cherokee Lake and over to down Reed Street to Remington Avenue. And we're on schedule to be done with that next year in late summer. So we're pushing it all forward.
Okay. All right, so due south.
I won't be there if it's not done, just understand.
And you don't want to miss out on the due south.
I don't want to miss out on this out.
They sold all 1,200 tickets for the J.J. Gray thing in November at the Plantation Wildlife Arts Festival. And they got Visions of Grandeur for due south. So they're really talking about bringing in somebody big. So.
That'd be fun.
Might have to wear duck boots, but that'll be all right.
Give everybody a construction hat and the orange vest.
All right.
Anything else?
The 2015 SPLOST and LMAG street improvements, which is the paving of Blackshear and Watson and the resurfacing of Junior Street and Magnolia Street. We're planning to bring those bids to you the first council meeting in October, which is the 12th, and it'll be under construction from late October through the end of February. Right now, if you go over to Blackshear and Watson Street, you'll see that we have the roads staked out, and we're working on utility relocations and burying the overhead electric and communication lines there. So we're trying to get ahead of our paving contractor with all those relocations to keep that construction time frame as truncated as possible.
How are you looking on the signs? Where we at with that? I know it's totally different, but signs?
The sign ordinance?
Yeah.
The sign ordinance should be going to the Planning and Zoning Commission this next review cycle, so.
Okay.
First week in September.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Michelle?
We continue to be in a good cash position, and as you know, we can't earn much money on the cash that we do have. And we do have several loans and, I guess I have a recommendation to take 2.1 million and pay off 4 loans that we currently have, with the local banks. And part of this is because we, our GFA projects, we continue to incur debt through those projects. Now, the good thing with those projects is the interest rate is fixed, for 20 years, whereas the interest rates with our local banks change every year and can change every year. Now, they remain very low, but, we wanted to go ahead and use that to get some more debt paid off. And as you know, we did this back in January too, paid some off then. And as part of this too, I'm working with our local banks to try and get us a little bit better interest rates on the money that we do have. It's not gonna be much, but every little bit helps, especially with the quantity that we're keeping in the banks right now.
What are we getting, 55 basis points?
No.
No?
0.1 or 0.25, yeah. Well, 25 or 10. So, yeah. So that's why we're trying I'm trying to get that up somewhat. And there's, because of banking regulations and that and state law, they have to have, offset to what we have, and they can't use our money for other things, so that's why we get a lower interest rate.
That's right.
So that's what causes it, but we can do better than we have been doing, and that's where I wanna get to.
Now, we're getting 55 for the pension, right?
Right, it's actually, 60 for the
Okay.
pension, yeah, and that's a separate thing.
Right. All right, well, I hate to
What
give
the-
up that, 0.15% return we're getting on
Yeah,
the cash, but,
Mm.
that's
One step away from paying them.
$1,500 for a million we have in there every year.
like I said, I'm working on getting that increased a little bit, but there's not a lot of room to move it, but
Yeah, I mean, they're sort of hamstrung and.
they are.
And we
yeah.
can't even waive that. For example, we can't waive that. You can just treat ours like a core deposit. They can't.
They
They're not
can't do
allowed
that,
to.
they aren't allowed to do that, and as a matter of fact, to offset some of it, we have, we got a $6.2 million money market account that we just keep there just to help offset some of that. But that's the one that's earning 0.25 versus the 0.1, so.
Okay.
That's all that
Are
we
you gonna
have.
need to take that to council, or we don't need to vote on that, do
We don't have to, she just to make sure that you all have.
Information and make sure that
Yeah, you're
I have your support,
in
I guess.
agreement with that direction, but, we can take that action.
we? All right. Anything else?
That's the only business that we have, for you. Any announcements or, information for the council?
When the county redid the parking lot up at the defects center and all that, and they painted it all out, aren't they gonna put in some landscaping? Is that
That's the plan,
sometime in
you know the latest.
this year's budget?
No, they indicated to me that in next year's budget, they're putting in the money to saw cut out the islands and put in the landscape.
We need to stay on top of that. And then the little alleyway in there between the event center and parking.
Klein?
We're gonna sit on that now, or when is it gonna go through and be fully paved like we had laid out?
Current plan is with pay.
So I know like what's going on there right now.
What- I'm kinda out of the loop, that's what, I wanted to ask about what you were just talking about, that alley or whatever. The alley between my place and Rose's, what's up with, where are we at with the event center then? I've just been gone for a while, come back. I read your article you had put in there where the last, that's how.
put it in there.
Someone put it in there.
I didn't read it.
All right, where you at on that?
We got a drawing, not drawing, that's the wrong term, but, more formal floor plan, more formal facade plan, location of building on the property, whatnot, package coming back from LRK, who was
Right,
was
right.
engaged to do it initially. What we're gonna end up with is a package that we can then take, and bid out for an architect to do the actual construction docs, so that we can then move forward and build. We should have that, gosh, probably in the next 2 weeks, right? Karen, or the LRK deliverable, final
I'm
deliverable?
hoping to have something in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, I mean, it was always end of August, beginning of September was when they were looking at, so that's when we are.
I came up with a team player idea the other day about the, I've had everybody coming after me saying, hey, I'll buy your property, let me buy your property, you know, cause they wanna deal with, they wanna jump in the middle of this thing, thinking they're gonna make some money. I'd like to stay there with my building, and the way my building is up front, it's right, it's up, it's tight to the alleys, I mean, tight to the next property over as you can get, but my storage building's right in the middle. I figured out, measured the alley, there's 18 foot on the alley. If I sold, of the quarter acre, so that's all a half acre. If I sold the quarter acre with 10 foot of my parking lot all along the front from Remington all the way to that back quarter acre and move that storage building, sold that, and I could stay there with my building there, stay there, and then, and you could move the whole building over that 18 feet or 10 feet or whatever you need for the, because the driveway, the alley then would be the drive-in, or it'd be a one-way road to come in, and you park by my building, or you just back up and go down the alley. So, I don't know, I heard a rumor about, Jerry and I's project, or my 16-year-old project of McLean Avenue, going out to Hansel, cut off, not cut off, cut off, and not cut off. Now, it might be an inlet from Smith Avenue, a one-way inlet with a sidewalk to come into the event center. That'd be beautiful. A one-way road, right in front of my buildings over there in the alley there, Snodgrass Alley. So the in would be from Remington down along the backside for service, and the out would just be you go right out Snodgrass Alley, back out, or in, or whatever you wanna do, or on McLean Avenue. But instead of selling my whole property, if you needed it, or if you don't need any of my property, that's fine too. But you could have a quarter acre more to work with the event center. But if I sold the 10 foot there, you could move the whole building, the whole length down. What would that do to the inside structure of your building? Would that give you more room? You know, you see?
We'll look at it.
Yep.
All right, anything else?
That's all that we have.
All right, ready?